Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So here we see verse number 16 through 18, chapter number 1, Bhagavad Gita, original. Ananda Vijayam Raja Kundiputra Yudhishthira Nakula Sahadevasya Sagosho Manipushpaka. O king, the son of Kundi, King Yudhishthira blew his conch shell, the Ananda Vijaya. Nakula and Sahadev blew the conch shell, Sangosha and Manipushpaka. The great archer, the king of Kashi, the fighter Shikandi, Drishtadyumna, Virada, the unconquerable Satyaki, the sons of Draupadi and Subhadra, all blew their respective conch shells. So here we see the reading or blowing the conch shell is very important. And they were all very enthusiastic. One thing is that righteousness stands by the side of the Pandavas. And the other side, the super enthusiasm they had, is Krishna is actually there. Because wherever there is Krishna, the all spiritual and material energy is actually with the Lord. Because the Lord is the cause of the creation. So therefore, the entire energy, many millions of energies always take the side of the Supreme Lord and his devotees. So this was actually the system. So therefore, this personality of Godhead, Lord Sri Krishna, in the scripture it is mentioned, Parabrahman, has taken the name of Krishna, and because Krishna means all pleasure. So he is the person whom they elected as the chief worshipper among all the demigods. When there was a Rajasuya Yagya, Pandava organized, means Yudhishthira organized, there were 33 million demigods were invited by the king from whole planetary system, because till the end of Dwapara Yuga, there was interplanetary system. Anybody wants to go, they can go. Even we can see here, until the Second World War, people were traveling all over the place as they want. After the Second World War, they have introduced a system called visa. So similarly, in the end of Dwapara Yuga, till that time, the interplanetary system were there. You can go to heavenly planet, you can walk around here, by sacrifices and yajna. If you have performed perfect, good yajnas, then yes, why not? So Arjuna went to heavenly planet to acquire all these weapons and brought, because they were preparing for the war, because these adamant and cunning and deceiving Kauravas are not going to give anything to them even after they underwent this exile. So therefore they were preparing for the war while they were in the forest, though they were not allowed to even enter into any town or city. But while living in the forest itself, they accumulated all these things. Now, far before they performed the Rajasuya Yagya, there were two yagyas in the human history that established the supremacy of the king or the performer who became an emperor. Only an emperor can actually perform this. It means there shouldn't be any enemy, or there shouldn't be any disobedient king or prajas. So that is Rajasuya Yagya. Rajasuya Yagya and Ashwamedha Yagya is actually two different things, but the result is actually the same. The Rajasuya Yagya, everyone is invited to the palace. Everyone is invited to the palace First, they actually make sure there is no enemies and there is no disobedient king who um, doesn't want to accept the authority of this king who is performing the Rajasuya Yagya. So here, when the Pandavas wanted to be independent from whole world, even though they were divided, their kingdom were given, a part of the space is given to them, and made him as a separate king. He was not actually independent until he performed this Rajasuya. Then he can be independent, and at the same time, Dhritarashtra will also accept his supremacy. So now, whenever he calls them, the Pandavas, on behalf of the Kauravas, fighting against any kingdom, the Pandavas have to come and fight on behalf of Dhritarashtra. This is exactly like the Germany. Germany is a country who caused First and Second World War. So therefore, now they are not allowed to have their own army. It is supervised and controlled by United States Army, United States of America. So it is because they caused many troubles and caused unwanted wars and massacres. So therefore, they had that kind of system. So here we can actually see, even though they separated Pandavas, but the Pandavas are not independent. But not because of like Hitler or something, because of the envy. Yudhishthira Maharaj is also a dictator, but he is a dictator. He makes sure that everyone follows the code of Dharma. So in that case, he is a dictator. But here, like a Hitler or Mussolini or Stalin or modern time you have seen in Iraq and Libya, and these dictators are different dictators. They're dictators, they create their own rules and everyone has to follow. If they don't follow, they will be punished seriously. But there is no religion, dharma or nothing there. But here, he wanted to strictly make sure everyone follow the religious principles. So in that case, he became the dictator. Dharma rakshati rakshita. Following the dharma itself actually increase the fortune and righteousness. So just simply following the dharma itself, it will increase. It's not that by following the dharma, Krishna will. Here, dharma and Krishna, there is no much difference because Krishna is identical, what we call identical. Krishna is the supreme personality of Godhead, is the absolute truth. So when he is absolute truth in his deity form, he is there. It's a question of our consciousness. And from anywhere he is omnipresent. From anywhere he can actually appear. He is omniscient. He is in everyone's heart, inside and outside. And he is omnipotent. And he is all powerful. His potency will be fully manifested from anywhere and everywhere. So here when we speak about dharma rakshati rakshita, the dharma is representing the Supreme Lord. That itself can actually protect simply by following it. Therefore, in our scripture it mentions, if brahmachari follows his rules and regulation, he manifests mystic powers. A lady who actually follows her chastity and she develops particular mystic powers. So everyone in their ashrams like brahmachari, grihastha, vanaprastha, sannyas, brahmana, kshatriya, vaishya, shudra, if they follow their respective duties, they develop spiritual qualities and mystic powers and all. So here 33 million demigods were invited. The interplanetary system was there. So can you imagine the the dimension of the palace of Yudhishthira Maharaj called Indraprastha. Indraprastha is the modern Delhi. From there, 90 kilometer or 100 or 125 kilometers away is actually the Meerut, where the Hastinapur is actually there. So when you say that you are landing in Delhi, means you are landing in the Pandavas' Indraprastha. So that is the modern place of Indraprastha, is modern Delhi. So here we see such a huge mansion created by Maya Dhanava, the palace. And we could find that, we can have a comparison. If you go and actually see a cricket stadium or a football stadium or hockey stadium or some kind of athletic ground, it may be very huge, and 1 lakh people, 2 lakh people can sit and view the entire sports or game. But here we can actually see 33 million demigods. That means 3 crore 30 lakhs, just demigods. Then various sages, rishis, and citizens of the planet. All the kings were invited. So all were sitting there. And there they wanted to invite or have a worship, pradham worship, agra puja, which is called. Now you actually do to Ganesh, right? That is those people who are materialistic and having material consciousness. They actually do for their own welfare, obstacles, and for material advancement. Of course, Ganesh is also a great devotee of Lord Krishna, and he derived the power from the Supreme Lord Narasimhadev. So we are being the Vaishnavas, worship Narasimhadev, so that he helps us to remove all the obstacles. So here we actually see all of them were there, and Lord was invited to accept the worship Agra Puja. In that assembly, it was spoken publicly. First, Sahadev, who is the most intelligent person, is considered there, and he was asked to elect, and he elected Lord Krishna. And even though there was all the great sages, Angira Muni, Vishwamitra, Parvata Muni, Narada Muni, all these sages, Vyasa Muni, all were there. But Sahadev said, Krishna, not even a Brahmana, but he is actually a Kshatriya. And you have to understand that sometimes you may think, this thing is immoral and unethical, and Krishna is beyond all morality and immorality, and ethics and non-ethics. And Bhishma was supported. Lord Shiva was sitting there. Lord Brahma was sitting there. All the Indra, Chandra, Varuna, everyone was actually sitting there. When Sahadev selected, it should be Krishna should actually be given first worship. Everyone was actually silent. But there was one guy who was actually came there to destroy the Rajaswaya Yagya, was Shishupal, who is Krishna's cousin. Krishna's father was Vasudeva. Vasudeva had a sister, and sister was married to some fellow called Damagosh, and his son is Shishupal, who was always envious about Krishna. So he opposed, and he had a blessings by the Lord that he will not actually kill him or torture him for another 100 offenses he commits. Each offense will deserve mrityu, then punishment, death punishment. So in that way, the Lord actually tolerated all his offenses. In the end, the Lord actually sent his Sudarshan because he didn't even stop even after 100. And Krishna didn't allow him to do the 101. So he killed him, and the Sudarshan sucked his blood and dried. Not even a drop of blood actually fell in the palace. And in that way, the Lord actually killed him, and the Pandavas worshipped him. And all demigods were watching. No one said anything. It is not because of fearful. It is because of what Krishna did was the right thing. So we can actually see from the scriptures, aprarabdha bhalam pavam kudam bijam bhalonmugam kramene naiva praliyade Vishnu bhaktir radatmanam. So this will be continued in the next verse. So we will link the translation and the purport of this particular verse. So time is over. So I'm stopping here, and we will continue in the next verse and finish this verse as well. Hare Krishna.